Before I dive into this video, I did a healing yesterday that I posted on the channel that is timeless. Anybody can take advantage of it whenever they happen to see this. I'll put a link in the description in case somebody comes across this years down the line and has no idea what I'm talking about, no easy way to determine what came yesterday. It's not directly related to this topic, but I did the healing because of themes that I'm seeing among people I know and things that I'm feeling within the collective at this moment in time, this moment in time being late 2025. There is a great deal of despair, confusion, and uncertainty. And I'm noticing there are people where things that used to work for them, things that used to uplift their spirits, those techniques aren't working right now. And everyone in their own way is going through something where they have to hold on to a hope that the sun's going to rise again. And I think most of us know it will, but in the most intense moments, when you're in the throes of a death cycle, and this is a death cycle. This is probably the biggest one that I have personally lived through, where we're feeling it on the individual level and we're feeling it on the societal level. And I think it's made worse by the fact that everything is going on as normal, but everybody knows that things aren't normal. And with what's going on spiritually and in the astral realm, we're in Ragnarok. It's not the end of the world, but it is the end of a world, which, as a friend pointed out to me earlier, couldn't be coming at a better time, considering that we've got the movement of those generational planets and all of the weirdness that's predicted to come with that. And I'm not going to go off into the weeds on this one, but I think that we're in the midst of a timeline shift. And if that's true, then one of the implications is that there's a lot of people who just aren't going to be able to coexist on the same plane anymore. And there's a lot of grief that's going to come with that. Jupiter's retrograde right now, and retrogrades bring up a lot of unconscious stuff, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So any negative emotions, any negative patterns or karma that we carry, that's being amplified by the retrograde. Not to mention, this is Scorpio and Sagittarius season, which these tend to be rough on the best of years, especially for people who have lost family members or are reminded of family members that have cut them off or that they've cut off going into the holidays. So in moments like this, I don't go to friends and clients and tell them to cheer up and to be positive and to look on the bright side of life, because quite frankly, in a lot of cases, things suck. And it's okay to say that things suck. It's not low vibe to say that things suck. As I've been instructed by more than one spirit, but there's one that is particularly prominent in my mind, and I think that others who work with him may know who I'm talking about. One of the first things he'll tell you if you're sick and you're trying to affirm or manifest yourself well by saying, I'm well, I'm well, I'm well, he will laugh in your face and tell you that you are sick and you need to admit that you are sick. It's not to keep you stuck there, but to say if you're living in denial, then nothing is ever going to change. One of the techniques that I have found effective for myself when I'm in the midst of something that is overwhelming me or that seems completely hopeless and out of my control is to lean into that fear that's inside of me, to lean into that dread and that panic that's stirring these racing and intrusive thoughts. I don't like heights. and I hate flying. If I had it my way, my feet would never leave the ground. Now, the very first time I ever got on a plane, not only was it a tiny and rickety thing, I got in it on the night of a pretty nasty storm. So nasty that the winds were whipping the traffic light that was hanging from a wire. It was a vertical traffic light, and in the wind, it was horizontal. So I'm feeling every tiny motion of that thing. And once we're up in the air, I'm clinging to the armrest for dear life, terrified that I'm not going to hit the ground. And then I have the thought, yeah, I'm going to hit the ground. It's impossible not to. This plane is going to touch down one way or another. And you would think that's a very dark thought, but it calmed me right down. It calmed me down because I realized I don't have any control in this situation. I have done anything and everything that I could do for my own safety, and I made decisions leading up to getting onto the plane that couldn't be undone. So all I was really doing in being afraid was tormenting myself. And the trick here is that if this only clicked rationally, it wouldn't have done anything to calm me down. It would not have stopped the intrusive thoughts. The reason it worked is because the moment that I had that thought, it clicked on an unconscious level. So if you're going to lean into your fear, that's what you want to feel for. And you want to be careful about how you do it. Be compassionate towards yourself and realize that not every single technique, not every single piece of advice applies in every situation to every person. What I would advise is that if you are someone for whom positive thinking and affirmations and things like that, either they haven't worked for you or they've only worked for you in certain contexts, this is something to consider. And it's not a new idea. I think Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, which I'm dating myself on that one. How long ago was that published? Pretty sure that he talked about an exercise maybe that the Stoics would do. I don't know. That word gets thrown around too much. Who the hell knows what a Stoic even is anymore with the red pill bros out there. Basically making it out to be chasing material possessions, hot women, and stuffing your emotions down as far as you can. And also not actually liking women, but just possessing them. I don't know. It's really weird and kind of gay. But the idea of the exercise was to take something that you're afraid of, some scenario that deeply scares you, and then explore it by playing it out to its natural endpoint. And there's a couple of different directions you can go with that. You can envision yourself experiencing the worst case scenario to its logical endpoint, which in many cases will be death. Or you can explore it in a way where the worst happens, but you start thinking of ways that you can actually navigate it. And when you do that, you realize, I'm not actually screwed if it happens. I can figure out solutions. I'm making this worse in my head than it would ever be in reality. Now, in the first case, you would wonder, well, if I'm thinking of something that could potentially lead to death, how is that in any way comforting? How could that possibly calm my nervous system? And the answer to that would be, there's an ending. One way or another, what we experience in life will come to an end, both the good and the bad points. as that same friend I referenced earlier talked about, one of the things that is great about astrology is that it ties into the cyclical nature of life. And mythology outlines this too. It's very rare that you have a religion or a mythology where they depict the end of the world as the end. Traditionally, in pagan mythologies, you have endings. You have transitions from one world to the next, but you never have a solid endpoint, and everything cycles around, good, bad, and otherwise. So if things have to end, if the worst has to happen or can't be prevented, same basic idea. If you can't avoid it, then whatever you're most afraid of, however terrible it might be in reality, it has to end. It can't go on forever. The sun has to rise again. And when it comes to traditional pagan festivals that took place around this time of year, they would have feasts, in part because who knows what the winter ahead holds. This might be the last time that they'd be able to sit down with their family. This might be the last time that their bellies are full. This might be the last time that they exchange stories around a campfire. So they made the best of it. They celebrated and they reflected and they bonded with each other. And then as winter inevitably gave way to spring and the dead world came back to life, they celebrated that too. Our ancestors didn't run from the reality of the world. And a great deal of our anxiety, a great deal of our fear, a great deal of what keeps us in what we could actually call a low vibrational state comes down to denial and an inability, rather an unwillingness to observe the world, to accept it as it is, to embrace our role in it and accept ourselves as we are, and to see both the beauty and tragedy in it and live accordingly. Our greatest superpower is when we are able to take reality as it is, to face it stoically in the actual sense, where we understand whatever fear we may hold on to, it doesn't change what the best course of action is. And it shouldn't stop us from living virtuously and living fully. That's the only real antidote we have to times like this. Because the only thing you can do at the end of the day is to make the decision that best aligns with your character, that best aligns with the well-being of yourself and your community, and then let the chips fall where they may. To anybody who's suffering right now, please keep going. Hang in there. The sun will rise again. And however much you are hurting, I guarantee you, there is someone out there who will understand. There is someone out there who will bond with you. And no matter how hopeless your circumstances may feel at this moment in time, clarity can come in like a lightning bolt at the instant you least expect it. That's what myths of dying and rising gods often point to. That's why Venus, the morning star, and the evening star is such a prominent figure within mythology. Venus descends heralding the night, but Venus also rises, like Gandalf riding down the hill at Helm's Deep, when the sun is about to come up. So no matter how long and deep the winter might be, spring has to arrive. The same as a ball you throw into the air has to come back to the ground. Now, closing out, we're about a third of the way into a month's worth of videos. I set a challenge for myself in getting this channel going of posting a video every single day. I don't know how the content is going to shift once I hit the end of this period, but I do enjoy making videos, and I think at the very least, I'm going to record audio to go with some of the articles that I publish. The main thing that I'm aiming for with making these is not to become a YouTube star. If it happens, it happens. But the main reason for making this is to help promote and to coincide with the offerings that I put on my website, which is linked down below, and to give you a better feel for, say, if you want to book me for coaching sessions, which are now live on my site. So thank you to all of my early watchers and supporters. You've been wonderful. And I can't wait to see where this experiment goes, how it evolves, and how this dying and rising period plays out for me. None of us is above anybody else. We're all in this together as a co-creative species. And if nothing else, I want to help co-create something that is better for everybody who is becoming part of my orbit, regardless of whatever else happens in the world, no matter how insane things get. I want to maintain a tribe of people who are individualistic, who buck the trends, and who laugh in the face of death.